Welcome to Be Now for Tuesday, February 21st. My name is Don McLeod, and as usual, I'm joined by Fazal Khan. Faz, how you doing today?
I'm good, Don. I was going to announce or declare the end of winter today, but apparently
No.
we're going to have some snow tomorrow.
We
So
shall see what we're going to have for the next 3 or 4 days, that's for sure.
yeah, so I don't think winter's over. In fact, if I recall, a few winters back, March break, I took my kids skiing, and it was the coldest March break I've ever experienced. So we still have lots of week to experience winter, Don.
Yeah, normally St. Paddy's Day is the cutoff. In and around St. Paddy's Day, after St. Paddy's Day, normally that's it. I mean, at the May 2-4 weekend, I have seen where it has snowed, but we're not talking about any major snowstorms. So 6 weeks of winter, regardless of what that lousy stinking rodent says, it's normally 6 weeks anyway. So it hasn't been a tough winter. So we'll see what's going on. Anyway, let's run down the agenda today, what we're going to talk about.
We're going to be talking about hockey,
Yep.
which I know very little about. I'm not a Maple Leafs fan. I'm not.
That's a good start right there. Yep.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about something we all are excited about is property tax hikes.
Property tax hikes, yep, coming. So
and
we're going to talk about that.
We have the As Seen on Social segment coming back today. So we're going to go through some stuff that was interesting on social media. So, Don, you seem to be very excited about the Women's World Championship put on by the International Ice Hockey Federation happening here in Brampton.
Yep.
Why are you so excited?
Well, I'm excited because, number one, you're talking about the top tier teams. Obviously, USA and Canada, the top tier. The last time it was in the province of Ontario was in the year 2000. We talked about that last week. Hazel McCallion was very instrumental in getting the championships in Mississauga. So this year, 2023, they're going to be 31 games. 7 teams are going to be engaged in it. I have the list of the teams, but we have, let's just see here. I can't remember. Russia is not one of them because obviously they're out. Canada, US, I think Finland, Switzerland, Hungary, Czech Republic. I think Japan was in there too as well. So we got a bunch of teams that are coming. It's a big event for women's hockey because they've tried to build that. I know Hockey Canada has tried to build it successively. It's one of the things that Hungary is involved as well, right?
No, I'm seeing there's 2 pools, and I don't understand how these tournaments work. But
pool A and pool B, they normally it depends on like the pool A and pool B are basically pool A is the better teams and B is the lower tier teams. Obviously, Canada and the United States are like pool A. If you take a look at pool B, you got Finland, Germany, Sweden, Hungary, and France. Now, they're not the worst teams. Finland's got a strong team.
I thought Sweden had a strong team, yeah.
But it's how they match up, right? So the winner of Pool A faces the winner of Pool B in the final, right? So,
well, I'm assuming that normally it would be Canada versus U.S., but the way it looks, you can't have that in the final. Or can you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out how they do the if they do a crossover, or the winner of Pool A gets a bye, and then so on and so forth, right? So
okay.
I don't know. We'll have to see how they do it, but there's a lot of good women's hockey games. I mean, obviously, it's a thing that it is growing. Obviously, Hockey Canada wants the women's league to grow a lot more. They're looking for it's like the Canadian women's soccer team and the men's soccer team. The funding equality is not there, and they're looking for that. I know that they're looking for some money from the city. That's what you were looking at.
I slide on that, but I'm actually excited by the number of people in the seats they're expecting, which is 100,000 fans over 31 games. And I think, what did you say the capacity of the CAA Center is? 5,000?
It's 5,000 per, right? So they're looking at 5.
So I guess they expect it to be filled a few times anyways, right?
Well, you can guarantee that people have already, if they've bought their tickets, because I do know there were some pre-ticket sales. If you're looking to, obviously you want the final game, right? So the final game is, going to be a sellout, right? The beginning games in the pools, I guess it depends on who's playing. Obviously, if Canada and US are playing, those are 2 of the biggies. Anyone that they play against, Finland's got a good team. Sweden, those are 2 of the powerhouses as well. So it'll be interesting to find out. But obviously, in Calgary, it held in 2021. It was being held in Calgary. They got a good turnout for that. It was, and that's why they've held it 3 times in the last 10 years in Canada. Calgary, Kamloops, and Ottawa. So
I'm going to put you on the spot, Don. I'm going to tell you some information. So this tournament is costing $3 million. And right now, the city hasn't put any skin in the game.
Right.
If you had to make the decision, how much money would you put in, Don? Or would you put in any?
Well, Hockey Canada is asking for $300,000 for the city to cover 10% of their operating costs. That's what they're going to delegate to City Council again tomorrow. Now, a staff report went in, and it's going to be presented to Council tomorrow. Part of that request is, yes, you can apply for $50,000 through the Sports and Tourism Brampton, and then the other $250,000 has to be approved by Council. And along with that comes about they have 3 different scenarios that would be presented, and part of that is a lot more advertising and so on and so forth, right? So, I mean, it is up on the city website right now if you want to see the report and the council report or the report that is going to be presented to council tomorrow. All you have to do is go there and check it out. I have downloaded and looked at it. It's not the first time the Hockey Canada, out of those 3 tournaments in the last 10 years, the one in Calgary, they got $700,000 from the city of Calgary. Kamloops in 2016, they got about 250, 75 cash and 175 of in kind. And in Ottawa, they got 200 and 200. So
what are you predicting City Council will do tomorrow?
I would imagine they'll according to this report, there's a whole bunch of things that if they give them the other 250,000. There's a whole bunch of brand exposure and media broadcast and speaking opportunities that they want included into the package. And it's a bilateral binding agreement between Hockey Canada and the city of Brampton. So I think that looking at those parameters, unless some of the councillors want to change them, I think they'll probably go ahead. I mean, it's a big tournament.
And Mike Dancy agrees with you. He thinks $300 is reasonable.
Yeah. They're not looking at bus ads. They're looking at a whole bunch of TSN. TSN has got the exclusive rights for broadcasting. Part of this agreement that the city is looking at, they give them the other 250,000. They're looking at basically, signage in the TSN. They're looking for venue banners, penalty box, and player bench board. Blah 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 blah. Also, 7 30-second spots during the broadcast, TSN broadcast. And then 30-second spots on the video board for all 31 games. So
we have
actually asking for
breaking news here, Don. Breaking news from live. Hang on, live is live TV. Sandra says single tickets go on sale on Wednesday, but only if you sign up for the pre-sale. And then I guess general tickets for the regular people is available on Friday for single seats. So that's
in this report they did say that the ticket sales or people that have been inquiring have been good so far, and they anticipate 50,000 fans of the CAA after 2 days of pre-sale have secured 1725 full event packages and 400 applications for group tickets. So I think they've already started, to tell you the truth, right?
So technically, 31 games, 5,000 seats. They should be able to sell 150,000 tickets. And right now they're saying 100,000. So that'll be interesting to see what it actually comes in at. Yeah,
because I mean, this is not like thankfully staff has put a report saying, okay, he's received the email today. Good. Okay. Hopefully, the staff has gone through its sort of due diligence here, rather than giving the beast $1.5 million with no parameters, no requests, no what are we getting in return?
We got a bus, right? We got to wrap the bus or something, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly, right. So I mean, at least with this, they've gone through the due diligence and they're saying, okay, that's fine. You want money, but what's our return on investment on this? So,
yeah, I think the city staff probably learned their lesson from that Brampton Beast fiasco.
Yeah, I mean, there was
you can't just give money. You got to get guaranteed things in return.
Yeah, and part of the community initiatives as well. The city wants the player to game stick. So, that's part of engaging local indigenous artists to paint and help present the Player of the Game awards. Community rink program, Hockey Canada offer Brampton schools the opportunity to attend daytime games at no cost. Ticket donation for charitable organizations to do.
Are we getting paid to promote this, Don? You seem to be.
No, I'm not. I'm just run. Maybe we should be. Good point, Faz.
Yeah. Maybe they
Anyway,
said that 100,000 should go to advertising locally.
Anyway, they're going through a whole bunch of things. I know that the candidates, when they have their tournament, they get money from the city as well. So, it's an opportunity for, the Hockey Canada to promote women's hockey as well going forward. Cassie Campbell was just, at Brampton, in Brampton the other day, promoting the back rink program that was set up by the city, which I think ends today, actually, to tell you the truth, right? Backyard rink program. Yeah, I think it ended on the 21st or the 22nd.
Could we stop talking about hockey now?
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to see the report, it's in there. Go to the city website, look at meetings and agendas coming up, and it's a committee of council, and it's tomorrow. So you've got the report there. Anyone can take a look at it, and you can see what you're going to get.
So Don, while we're still talking about sports, I'm more of a basketball fan, and the Canadian national anthem. Did you hear that story?
Yes, I did.
So Julie Black,
Yep.
who is a Canadian R&B artist,
Yep.
did her rendition of "O Canada," which I loved. I loved it. She made a change. We don't have the clip here, but she made a change to the one small 3 words she replaced with the 2 words, right? She's now, I'm putting myself on the spot. "O Canada, our home." Normally it's "O Canada, our home and native land." She changed it to "O Canada, our home on native land." What did you think about that?
Well, it's the same thing as when someone wanted to say, what was it? All our sons command, all our sons and daughters commands. A national anthem is a national anthem. If you want to change the national anthem, then actually go through the proper channels. But if you're a singer, that's the national anthem, right? If you don't want to sing that, okay, fine, make your own album. But a national anthem is there for a reason. They petitioned to change the national anthem several times. It's got to go through the parliaments, the whole.
Yeah, and I
whole
see that.
deal.
I see that what you're saying. I've seen some of that reaction there.
It's like when Joanne Barr, right? Remember Joanne Barr?
Roseanne Barr?
Roseanne Barr, yeah. Roseanne Barr basically slaughtered the American anthem at one of the baseball games. Like, she was terrible. People were like, if you can't sing, don't sing. It's like, it's supposed to be a national anthem, right? You're supposed to give it the due respect it deserves. It's like taking a Canadian flag and stomping on it, right? I mean, you don't do that.
So Karen doesn't agree with you. Mike Dancy doesn't agree with you.
I don't agree with either of them. So,
and I don't agree with you, Don. Once again, you're wrong and we're right.
That's a great point about, discussions, as long as you don't take it. But, I think that, if you want to make an adjustment to it, I remember when someone made the adjustment to the national anthem, and they were not allowed to sing anymore. And it's like, if you agree to sing the national anthem, sing the national anthem. If you want to change the lyrics, tell people beforehand saying, I'd like to change the lyrics, right?
But you changed 2 letters.
Doesn't matter. It's like, it doesn't matter, right? It's the national anthem. If you want to change it,
but even
put a petition forward and go through Parliament.
It was a very soulful rendition. That's an interpretation of "O Canada," because when "O Canada" came out, there was one way to do it, right? The way we learned.
No, not really. I mean, Stompin' Tom, saying that, you've had different, Kate Bush, America. There was, Rennie Doucette in Montreal always saying the national anthem. It doesn't matter. You have different people. Jimi Hendrix doing, the Star Spangled Banner. It doesn't matter, right? But at the same point in time, I mean, if you're going to change something or you want to change it, fine, put a petition. I got no problem with that, right? That's just how it works.
But you know what, Don? We live in Canada and we have the ability to debate this, which is something we should all treasure. And I know you served our country, so I will give you the final say and put more weight in what you say. So, don't
take my word for it. I mean, everyone has their opportunity, and that's what people forget. It's like, yes, served and, so on and so forth. But a lot of people serve. And that's why a lot of people do serve. And it's like, you know what, for the ability for people to be able to discuss things. And it's like not get killed for it. Right.
Yeah, well, that would not be good. We'd be dead already, Don. Okay, let's move on to the big topic. The big topic.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had to deal with in a while, Don. Property tax hikes.
Yeah. Yeah, for 4 years. I mean, the city of Brampton has not come up. They've come up with a zero tax increase. So this is the first one that we're going to have in 4 years. They are discussing it now. The final budget goes to council. I think it's March the 9th. That is when it's either approved or whatever. Peel Region has already set theirs at a 2.8% increase. So Peel Region has already said you're going to get 2.8%. School tax is 0%. It's always 0%. And there's a hospital levy of 1% is going to stay on as well, right? And the city of Brampton is looking at a 2.9 possibly, right? They've presented the budget at a 2.9% increase, and it's until March the 9th. Is it going to stay that way or is it going to go lower, right?
So what's the overall tax hit we should be expecting?
So here we go. The overall tax, it should be, if they keep 2.8 and 2.9, it's 5.7% increase to your tax bill.
So, and this is where, because you and I were having this debate before the show, and I actually don't think it is. Because if the region increases by 2.9% and the city increases by 2.9%, they're increasing their separate budgets by that. So overall, the entire bill goes up by 2.9%.
No. We had this conversation many, many times over the years where councillors would say, well, your tax bill is only going up by 2.9% or whatever it happened to be, right? And that's true, the city portion, but we still are responsible for the Peel Region, which does the schools, the police, any kind of social services in regard to, the housing and this and that and everything. That's still part and parcel. And that's a good chunk of your tax dollars. I think 60% goes towards the Peel Region. Now, I talked to someone today, very knowledgeable, because he's basically vice chair of the budget committee. And he was supposed to come on tonight. You know who I'm talking about, but he wasn't available.
Councillor Paul Vicente?
Yes, that's the man right there. So I talked to him about it, and he said, yes, it's 2.8 and 2.9 is 5.7. That's basically what you're looking at.
And I still have issue with that because I just
you
from
think
my
it's
way
not
of thinking.
You think it's
just
not.
From my way of thinking, I think he's wrong. I don't think you add the two from the two levels of government, right? It doesn't make sense because the regional appeal can't say, oh, we're going to increase 2.9% on the entire amount of money you pay. And the city's going to say 2.9% on the entire money you pay. They should only be dealing with their part of what
it's based on your impact, right? So like, an average house or whatever is all set, right? So you got your impact.
Yeah, but that's how they communicate it, right? I want to know what percent. I don't care what portion goes to the city, what portion goes to school, to the region. Let's say I pay $1,000. I wish I paid $1,000. Is it going up by? Would you just say 5?
Well, let's say 6%, right?
Then is it going up by $60? I don't think so. I think it's going up by $30, right? Or
it's going up. You're gonna, and that's why we're going to clarify this with Councillor Vicente. We're going to talk to him. He can't make it next Tuesday, but we did talk to him, and we're going to do an interview, probably tape it this week or weekend with him about the budget process and about the 2.9% increase that the city of Brampton is proposing. Why 2.9% at this point in time? And we'll talk to him about, the blended, is it 5.7 in reality on top of your tax bill? I did read, like several of the media outlets claimed that, yes, it will add probably we're talking about somewhere in the vicinity for the average household, $320 or whatever. But that's based on the impact assessment, which is, I think, only $580,000. That's an average, right? I don't think $580,000 is like, I don't know. I think a townhouse in Brampton is worth more than $580,000. So,
yeah, I don't know where they, that's the assessed value. It's not the real estate value, right?
And Mike, this will be closer to 10%. And then what is it there? What did
Oh,
you
sorry,
say
let me
there?
put it back for you.
And then the impact will do evaluation. Well, the impact evaluation is lower than basically what your house is worth. It always is, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I want to talk about this point that Mike raises. If we had done 0.5% per year over the last 4 years, we wouldn't be here. I blame Brown. No. If we had done, this is what Linda Jeffrey did when she came in. She kept rising it every year. It just assumed you're going to rise, and it was more than inflation every year. I love the fact that Brown came in here. He promised not to raise it. He figured out a way not to do it, and you can argue about how he did that. And now we're starting at a number that's significantly lower than it would have been, and we would have had the same increase. We all know that, right?
Well, put it this way. I mean, Bonnie likes to whine and complain. I think I can't remember what the city of Mississauga tax rate is going to be increased, but she's still touting the fact that Mississauga, if they separate right now, they're gonna save millions of dollars in service or tax dollars for the residents. Well, the Peel region, they're increasing 2.8%. Well, they have to because, like I said, we pay for. We're pooling our resources on police. We're pooling our resources on social housing. We're pooling our resources on everything that comes out of Peel region, that's connected with that. We pay for our own fire, but at the same time, there's a whole bunch of different things that the Peel region supplies, right? Peel education, the school board, that's Peel District School Board. We pay for that, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't come out of our.
No, it doesn't. But I mean, these are all services that come through Peel as a pooled resource.
Well, the last time we went through this exercise, Brampton was saying, well, if you do want to split, you're going to owe Brampton a lot of money for all the money we invested in Mississauga's infrastructure. But here's what I think Mississauga expects to happen if we do separate, is that the province will pay the bill. Whatever number that is, Brampton thinks Mississauga owes us, they're going to say to Doug Ford, you separated, so you pay.
Well, the other thing that came up is like the amalgamate, Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon into one large municipality, and then, we're all one big happy family. But at the same time, you eliminate the waste of duplication of councillors, and instead of 3 mayors, you go to 1, and so on and so forth. How valid or how realistic that is, I don't know. It'd be a massive city because we're looking at 1.2 Caledon. You'd be close to 2 million people in that whole region, right?
That would be a great election, though, Don. I would love to see that election. I would love to see Bonnie Crombie and Patrick Brown duel it out.
Well, you get more than those two. Basically, you'd have every Tom, Dick, and Harry from Mississauga all the way up to Caledon.
It would be down to those two, right?
It'd be like you'd have like how many 50, 60 people running for mayor? It'd be ridiculous. And probably you'd have George Mammoliti running as well, right? He runs for everything, right?
He's going to run in Toronto, and if he wins, then we don't have to worry about that, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win in Toronto.
Okay, Don, let's move on.
All right.
Because nobody likes talking about taxes. So let me get the slide.
But we will have Councillor Vicente to talk about this and the taxes and why it's going up 2.9.
Oh, and by the way, there's I forget what it's called, a coffee chat in wards 1 and 5 tomorrow, Wednesday night at, I think it's 6:00. I can't remember the exact location. I'll try to get it before we end the show, but I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there, Don?
It could be tricky because that's when you're supposed to have all sorts of ugly weather coming your way.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You might want to talk about maybe the possibility of changing the date on that one because that's going to be ugly.
Okay. You know what? The weather people are always wrong, Don. It'll be fine. So, Councillor Vicente,
when you're stranded, don't call me, okay?
Councillor Santos is going to be there, and the mayor's going to be there, and I'm going to ask that question: Is it 2.9 plus 2.9, or is it 2.9 across the board?
Okay.
Because there's no point in saying we're only raising city taxes at the rate of inflation when the hit to our pocketbook is going to be 5.9%.
Well, the 5.7% is under the rate of inflation right now.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Okay. All right. So as seen on social. So let me put up a graphic here. So you know what those, if I'm not sure if you can see it on your screen or mobile device, but that's a home in, I think, Rosedale,
I think, yeah.
in Toronto.
Yep.
I don't know, as a Land Rover or something, expensive vehicle.
Yep.
And they have the 3 kind of pop-up bullocks. Is that how you
Yeah,
say
what?
it? Bullocks?
Yeah,
Bullocks?
what they're bollards. They're called
Bullards?
bollards.
Bullards?
Yeah, they come out of the ground. So basically, you see these all the time in Europe when they close off streets at certain times of the day. What happens is they'll come up automatically. They're on a timer, right? Or you can adjust whatever time you want. There's a button that you can press, and he's probably got on a button or a release mechanism, right? But they go right down to the ground and they go flush to the ground, and they come right up, right? It's on a hydraulic system, and
What
I see.
happens if there's a layer of ice on the driveway?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Those things will come up and down, no problem.
What happens if your significant other reverses back into one of those and bends it?
They won't bend. I'm going to tell you, these things are solid.
Okay.
I've seen where one of them, somebody has ran into them in Europe, and it's like there's no damage. The front was totaled, and these things are solid. They're solid steel. They come up and down.
Okay.
They use them, like I said, to close off streets. So at certain times in the night, like say 6 o'clock, these will
but this
go
is
up.
the street. This is somebody's private driveway.
Yeah, well, the guy obviously paid for it, and he said, you know what, I'm going to pay for it myself, and
So that will thwart a thief.
yes,
It's an
that
expensive
will.
way to do it. We all can't do that. That looks like at least a $5,000 to $10,000 project, right?
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah. So the other alternative, our local Brampton Speaks
Yeah.
Twitter user. So why can't you just use a steering wheel lock mechanism like this?
Yeah, and they used to have those all the time.
I actually had one of those. My car when I was younger got stolen, and then I replaced it with a brand new car, and I got one of those. My car wasn't stolen again, but I was smarter about it. I didn't leave my car where a potential thief could get at it. But I think that works. So there, I think you need a drill with the right bit to go through the key lock. Most thieves are not going to be walking around with that, right? Especially if it's easy to just that relay attack that the mayor keeps talking about is an option.
Yeah, it's like if you own a bike, do you have a chain for your bike or a lock?
I do, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like, some of it is, self-responsibility of I have this, I want to make sure it's safe. Do you lock your door when you go out?
Yes, I do, Don.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it gets broken into, but I mean, you can put extra locks on your door. And we did a program with this when we were running Neighborhood Watch with the CLO and the liaison, how you can reinforce your door to make sure it's a little bit harder for any kind of thieves to kick down the door, right? And it's like, okay, fine, you can stick with your door and your lousy, little lock that you get from Canadian Tire or whatever that costs $1.20. Or you can beef it up and make sure that it's more difficult. To me, it's yes, there's an onus on the car makers to some extent, but there's an onus on you as well. You just can't shrug it off and say, well, it's a car manufacturer's responsibility to make sure my car is safe. There's certain things that you have to do as well.
Yeah, I can't blame the homeowners if it's one of those relay attacks that takes 60 seconds. But if somebody breaks into your car, breaks the window, and reverse is it like I honestly don't know who would steal a car with this on it, so it would work, but I don't also put the blame on the car owner when a car gets stolen. It's
no, I mean,
you can't expect a personal property that weighs thousands of pounds to just be easy to steal.
No, but it's like if you own an e-bike and it costs you $3,000-$4,000, I'm going to make sure I get a lock that's
but it's an e-bike, right? I can lift in. Well, I can't lift an e-bike there.
No, but I mean, I'm not going to get a lock that somebody can cut with a pair of bolt cutters either.
Yeah, you'll spend a little more on the
exactly. You got to invest in it, right? So if you do a motorcycle, it's the same thing, right? So.
All right, and so this we're completely off topic now.
Okay.
But, Lisa Stokes was in Waterloo this weekend, and as you know, Waterloo has a fully functional LRT. And I was thinking to myself, how does Waterloo have an LRT and Mississauga and Peel are still building ours? It's amazing considering the needs in the Peel region. But anyways, good for Waterloo. But what Lisa was pointing out was the surface route of the LRT. And how this, I think Brampton Speaks was pointing out how this photograph that she took from inside the LRT kind of looks very similar to downtown Brampton. And why would you not want to showcase or show off or look at your downtown if it looks nice rather than go underground where it's dark and you're not seeing anything? So she was advocating for the surface route, which a lot of people still are. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. And then she also posted this photo saying you don't even need a Ford F-150 if you're transporting lumber, because you can do that on the LRT as well, like this gentleman did.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing he's not doing it during rush hour.
Yeah, that might be an issue.
Yeah, that would be an issue. It's like, dude, get it delivered. Jeez.
All right, so that's the end of our show, Don, and we're at the 30-minute mark.
Excellent. So you know what? Next Tuesday, it's the 28th, the end of the month, and March is not far behind. And then April 5th is when the IIHF starts at the CAA Center. So as someone, I think, was it Sandra who mentioned about the tickets being on sale on Wednesday? So if you're interested in checking out the tickets, single tickets go on Wednesday, so pre-sale. So if you want to sign up for the pre-sale and see, 5,000. Are
we getting any commissions for this now?
No, we don't. Too bad, right? But anyway, it's it's good to the Brampton is focusing on this. I think it'll be an interesting tournament, right? We'll check it out for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll see you next Tuesday, and thank you for all those comments and people joining us. And we will be back, like I said, on 28th, Tuesday, and we'll see what's going on, what's new in the Peel region. Thanks for joining us.
Adios.